So you can see that we've just outputted all some of the variables that we created onto the console here. So we've got 5, hello, 50.78, and this object here. And on the right, you can see that it's all coming from the intro.js file, and it's showing which line in that file. All right, so we can verify that by looking at our intro.js. So we've console.logged the variable string, number, and object. So string up here is hello. Number is 50.78 since we reassigned the value here from 50 to 50.78. And as for the object, we declared it an empty object here, and then we reassign the value here. We reassign a new value to this object. And once more, we can have a look. And you can see that it matches up. Okay, moving on. So touching more on objects you can think of as a collection of properties, and these properties can contain a value, which can either be a primitive data type or a complex data type. Now with objects, they are separated by commas. So in objects, it uses a comma as a delimiter, as you can see here. Between each property and value pairing, we separate with a comma. Now, the way that this is formatted here, this object, is simply to make it visually easier to read, but in fact, you can also write an object in one line. As an example here, object, let's reassign the object. So you can write the object like this as well, and it is still valid. All right, like that. So you can write it all in one line, as long as you use this comma as a separator between each key value or property value pairing. Now moving on, so we're going to touch on accessing the values in the object. So there is dot notation and bracket notation. So let's say, as an example, we want to, let's create a variable called value. Let's say we want to access the title. We want to get this value of Harry Potter. One way of doing that is if we type the variable name, which is object, and we use what's called dot notation. So we type a dot, and now we can access any of these properties here. So we can type in title. All right, and let's remove all this. Now let's console log the value variable, and what we expect to see is this object.title, which is Harry Potter. So we expect the value to be Harry Potter. Now let's check our console, refresh. All right, so you can see that it's printed Harry Potter on the console from intro.js on line 33. That's called dot notation. All right, so you can also do the same thing with release and save. So we access the properties using a dot. Now it's changed to 2005. Another way is called bracket notation. So bracket notation is similar to dot notation. Instead of using a dot, we use a square bracket. And as a string, we type the property name and save. Refresh. Now it's printed Harry Potter again. All right, do keep in mind there is no space in between the object variable name and the square brackets, and the property is typed out as a string. Okay, so that is bracket notation and dot notation that allows us to access values inside of an object.